Kwame Jackson tightened the last bolt on a dying Chevy when the knife flashed. Blood hit the floor, and Detroit's shadows swallowed him whole. Cuffed, framed, and caged, he stared down a system that didn't care. But Kwame wasn't built to break. In a city of rust and rage, he'd ignite a fight to burn it all down. Kwame Jackson twisted the final bolt into the '98 Chevy Impala, the sweet croon of Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" drifting from a beat-up radio in Hargrove's auto shop. Detroit's February wind howled outside, sneaking through the cracked windows, but Kwame barely noticed. At 28, he lived for this: the hum of tools, the tang of motor oil, the puzzle of a busted engine coming back to life. He wasn't loud or flashy like some guys on the block. He let his hands do the talking, and they spoke loud enough to make him the best mechanic around. Tonight, though, he was dragging. Mr. Hargrove, his boss, had cornered him earlier, all desperate eyes and gravelly voice. "Big client, Kwame. East Side money. Finish that Chevy, I'm begging." Kwame had sighed, nodded, and stayed late, even though his mom was waiting with a plate of collards back on Joy Road. He wiped his hands on a rag, ready to bounce, when a sharp clatter rang out from the storage room. "Tony," he called, grabbing a flashlight. Tony was his coworker, twitchy, loud, always chasing some hustle. The door creaked as Kwame pushed it open. Tony stood there, crowbar in hand, prying open a crate. Inside gleamed a stack of alternators, high-end, shiny, the kind Hargroves broke as couldn't afford legit. "Man, what you into now?" Kwame snapped, stepping closer. Tony spun, face pale, stammering. "Kay, listen, it's just..." Before he finished, the back door banged open, and a figure in a black hoodie burst in, knife flashing like a lightning strike. The blade plunged into Tony's chest. He gasped, crumpling, blood pooling fast. The attacker didn't even glance at Kwame, just bolted, a chain necklace clinking to the floor as he ran, a snake coiled around a gear etched into it. Kwame dropped beside Tony, panic surging, and yanked the knife free to check the wound. Blood coated his hands, his shirt. Dumbass move. Sirens screamed, red and blue lights flooded the shop, and cops swarmed in, guns drawn. "Drop it. Hands up." Kwame froze, knife dripping in his grip. "This ain't me," he shouted, voice steady despite the chaos. The lead cop, O'Malley, a buzzcut hard-ass with cold eyes, smirked. "Sure, tough guy." On the ground, asphalt scraped Kwame's cheek as they slammed him down, cuffs biting his wrists. At the precinct, O'Malley laid it out. Fingerprints on the knife, blood on his clothes, Tony in a coma. Attempted murder, maybe murder if he didn't pull through. Kwame sat in the holding cell, staring at the peeling paint. He'd grown up dodging trouble on Joy Road, dad gone, mom working doubles, kids slinging dope on corners. He'd heard the whispers. Black kid in Detroit, guilty till proven dead. Doubt clawed at him. Maybe this was it, the trap he couldn't wrench free. Then his mom's voice cut through. "You're better, Kay." He clenched his fists. Better meant fighting. As the cell door clanged shut, Kwame swore he'd fix this, or go down swinging. Wayne County Jail was a concrete coffin, sweat, bleach, and the faint echo of despair hanging in the air. Kwame perched on his bunk, the flickering bulb buzzing like a trapped wasp. A week in, and the walls felt tighter every day. No bail. He didn't have the cash. No Tony to say what really went down. Just him and a public defender, Carla Diaz, a short Latina with a Detroit drawl and eyes that cut through bullshit. "DA's got you dead to rights, Kwame," she'd said, tapping her pen. "Give me something, or you're looking at years." He liked her, no fluff, just fight. But Kwame wasn't banking on her alone. His mind churned, replaying that night. Tony's nervous sweat, the crate of alternators, the snaking gear chain glinting on the floor. Chop shop vibes. Detroit was crawling with crews stripping cars and flipping parts on the low. Tony wasn't the brains, just dumb enough to get greedy. Kwame needed proof, and he'd get it, even if he had to claw it out of this hellhole. He started with Reggie, an old-timer with a gray beard and a limp, locked up since the '90s for boosting rides. Reggie knew the game. Joy Road, Grand River, the whole damn map. During rec, Kwame slid him a Snickers from commissary. Heard Tony was mixed up in some shit. Kwame said, keeping it cool. Reggie chuckled, voice raspy. "Gear vipers, kid. Run parts, drugs, whatever pays." Tony was a runner. Probably skimmed a cut. You? Wrong spot, wrong skin. Kwame nodded, gears turning. He got a pencil and paper from Carla, sketched the crime scene. Crate, Tony, that chain. He needed Aisha, his 20-year-old sister, a Wayne State sophomore with more guts than sense. She visited, pressing her hand to the glass. I ain't letting you rot, Kay, she said, voice trembling but fierce. Kwame slipped the sketch over. Find this symbol. East side, gas stations, corners. Stay sharp. Nights hit hard. The clang of bars, the snores of inmates, the weight of it all. Kwame stared at the ceiling, doubt creeping in like rust. His mom was out there, working doubles at the diner, gray hair creeping in. Aisha was risking her neck, too young to be this deep. What if he couldn't fix this? What if he was just another black man the system chewed up? He punched the wall, knuckles stinging, breath ragged. Then he saw his mom's tired smile, Aisha's fire. No, he'd survived Joy Road, survived losing his dad. He'd survive this. Aisha's letter came, slipped through Carla. Gear Vipers, East Side Crew. Snake and Gears their tag. Spotted it at a shell off Gresham. Be careful. Kwame traced the sketch, hope flickering. Then he saw him, bald, snake tack curling up his neck, a new inmate eyeballing him in chow. Reggie whispered, Vipers know you're digging, kid. Kwame's got twisted. The cage just got tighter. Kwame paced the rec yard, boots crunching gravel, Detroit's skyline a jagged gray smear past the razor wire. Aisha's letter was a lifeline. Gear Vipers, East Side, Gresham Avenue. Tucked in his jumpsuit like a loaded gun. She was out there, a 20-year-old college kid chasing ghosts in a city that didn't play nice, while he was caged, dodging vipers inside. Snake, the bald thug with the neck tat, watched him from the bleachers, his crew muttering low. Kwame felt the clock ticking, trial looming, danger closing. Reggie was his edge inside. At chow, Kwame slid him extra cornbread, the steamy hall loud with clanging trays. Vipers got pull, huh? He asked, voice barely above the din. Reggie smirked, wiping grease from his chin. Pull. They run chop shops from here to 8 Mile. Parts. Dope. You name it. Tony was a pawn, probably jacked a shipment. You're the unlucky bastard who saw it. Kwame's jaw clenched. He'd heard that story too many times. Wrong skin, wrong zip code. Outside, Aisha was a storm. She hit Gresham's Shell Station, snapping pics of a viper flashing the snake and gear chain. Then Motor City Tap, a dive bar where grease monkeys traded whispers. Her big move was Hargrove's shop, snuck in after midnight, flashlight shaking as she rifled his desk. The books were sloppy, but gold. Fat cash deposits marked GV. Way too much for a failing garage. Hargrove's dog lunged, barking like a demon, and Aisha bolted, evidence stuffed in her bag, pulse hammering. Carla called it in. Aisha's a damn ninja, she said, voice crackling through the jail phone. Got Hargrove's books, money laundering, Viper cash. Tony's awake, mumbling you're clean. We're close, Kwame. He gripped the receiver. Tell her to chill. Vipers don't play. But Aisha wouldn't. She was his mirror, too stubborn to quit. That night, Kwame broke. The cell felt like a tomb, the sketch trembling in his hands. He saw his mom's hunched shoulders, Aisha's reckless grin, and guilt hit like a sledgehammer. If he'd walked away that night, left Tony to drown, would they be safe? Doubt choked him. Maybe he wasn't strong enough, smart enough. He slammed his fist into the bunk, metal ringing, then exhaled. No, he'd pulled engines from Rex, pulled himself from Joy Road. He'd pull through this. He scratched a note for Carla. Press Tony, get a name. Trouble doubled down. Snake cornered Aisha at a junkyard off Mack Avenue, her second run for pics. Tell your brother to shut it, he hissed, grabbing her arm. She need him, ran, called Carla shaking. When Kwame heard, fury boiled, then sharpened. He found Reggie at rec, need a play, old man. Word to the guards, Vipers want me dead. Reggie nodded, grim. I'll rattle em. Oh, you won. Kwame stared at the sketch, snake in gear glaring back. Aisha's bruises, Tony's voice, Reggie's risk, the pieces clicked. The puzzle was almost whole, but the Vipers were hunting. This wasn't just survival now, it was war. The jail cafeteria stank of burnt grease and tension, a low hum of voices bouncing off cinderblock walls plastered with faded Motown posters. Kwame sat alone, tray cold, gray meatloaf, lumpy potatoes, eyes locked on Snake and his Viper goons across the room. Reggie had snitched to a guard about a hit, but the screws were slow, maybe paid off. A week, till trial, and the Vipers were done waiting. Kwame felt it, like a spark plug about to blow. It hit fast. Snake sauntered over, all fake calm, then lunged, a toothbrush shank slashing at Kwame's throat. He dodged, tray clattering, the blade slicing his shoulder. Hot, wet pain. The room erupted, shouts, benches scraping, inmates bolting for cover. Snake's crew closed in, Mop, wielding a busted mop handle, and Knuckles, fists like bricks. Kwame's mechanic brain fired. Assess, adapt, live. He snatched a chair, cracked it into Snake's chest. The thug stumbled, gasping, but Mop swung, nailing Kwame's ribs. He crashed down, breath gone, the sticky floor cold under him. Doubt screamed, "I'm done. I can't." Then Aisha's bruised arm flashed in his mind, and he roared back. He tackled Mop, slamming him into a table, wood splintering, then spun as Knuckles charged. Kwame sidestepped, tripping him into a wall. Thud, groan. Guards barked, "Lock it down." But Snake was up, blood streaking his grin, shank glinting. Kwame faked a fall, dropping low. Snake bit, stepping in for the kill. Then the twist, Snake kicked, a second blade flashing from his boot, slashing Kwame's leg. "Slippery, huh?" he snarled, lunging again. Blood pooled, panic surged, but Kwame's mind raced. He grabbed a spilled tray, hurled it, caught Snake's wrist, shank skittering free. Kwame sprang, pinning Snake's arm, knee on his throat. "Tell your boys I don't break," he growled, voice raw. Snake thrashed, spitting, "You're a ghost, Jackson." Guards swarmed, batons swinging, yanking them apart. In the infirmary, Kwame sat, bandaged, leg throbbing, staring at the cracked ceiling. He'd survived, barely. Carla burst in, face ashen. "You're a lunatic, Kwame. Aisha's safe. Hargrove's books are dynamite. Tony named a Viper enforcer, matches Snake. We've got M." Kwame nodded, pain pulsing, hope flickering. Reggie limped in, arms slung up. "Took a shiv in the yard. Viper payback for snitching. I'm good, but you owe me, kid." Kwame clasped his hand, guilt biting. "Big time, old man." Later, alone, Kwame traced the sketch, blood still on his mind. He'd nearly cracked. Fear, doubt, the weight of it all. Aisha's fight, Reggie's blood, Carla's hustle, they'd held him up. The Vipers wanted him buried. Instead, they'd forged him into something harder. Trial was days away, and Kwame wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was a damn force. The house lights dimmed, the infirmary quiet, but his resolve burned bright. They tried to kill him. Now he'd kill their game. The courtroom on Woodward Avenue gleamed. Dark wood, high ceilings, the hum of justice, or something like it. Kwame sat at the defense table, suit borrowed from Carla's brother, shoulders stiff from bruises, legs still aching from Snake's boot blade. His mom sat front row, tissue crumpled, gray hair peeking from her scarf. Aisha gripped her notebook, eyes fierce. Carla stood, voice sharp as a Detroit winter. "Your Honor, my client's been framed, attacked, nearly killed. Here's the truth." She laid it bare. Tony's shaky hospital bed whisper. "Kwame didn't do it, Viper Guy did." Aisha's photos of the snake and gear thug at Greshett's shell. Hargrove's books dripping with laundered Viper cash. Reggie's testimony, rasped through a busted lip. "They hit me to shut him up." The body cam footage was the knockout. Snake's wild slash in the cafeteria, Kwame's desperate dodge, played on a flickering screen. The DA squirmed, objections drowned by the judge's gavel. Overruled. "Proceed." Kwame took the stand, steady despite the ache. "I fix cars, not kill people," he said, voice low, eyes on the jury. "They wanted me gone 'cause I saw their dirt. I fought to live." Jurors nodded, some scribbling. Deliberation took an hour. "Not guilty." The foreman read, and the gallery exploded. His mom sobbing, Aisha whooping, Carla slapping his back. "Told you, Jackson." The judge glared at the DA. "Gear Viper's investigation starts now. This ends." Outside, Detroit's dusk painted the skyline in deep purples and oranges, the hum of 8 Mile glowing faint in the distance. The block party on Joy Road was alive, grills smoking ribs and chicken, Marvin Gaye's "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" blasting from a battered boombox, kids breakdancing on cracked pavement while aunties clapped. Reggie rolled up, arm in a sling, and handed Kwame a cold Verner's ginger ale. Legend shit. Kid, you beat the devil himself. Aisha crashed into him with a hug, whispering, "You're my hero, K." Her voice thick with tears. Kwame's chest tightened. He hadn't heard that since he was a kid fixing her bike on the stoop. The Viper's empire cracked wide open. Raids swept their chop shop off 8 Mile. Hargrove sang like a choir boy for a plea deal. Snake and his crew locked in cages of their own. Kwame's wrongful arrest suit hit, the payout enough to rewrite his story. He opened Jackson's garage in an old lot near Grand River, the neon sign buzzing bright over a clean base stacked with tools. First day, Malik, a lanky 16-year-old with a chipped tooth and a hungry stare, swaggered in. "Heard you took down the system," he said, tossing a wrench between his hands. Kwame grinned, tossing him a rag. "System don't win unless you let it. Start on that Ford over there. Valve job, clean work." Malik nodded, diving in, grease smudging his fingers like a badge. That night, Kwame stood outside the garage, the Motown pulse of Detroit wrapping around him like a warm coat. The city's lights twinkled, from the riverfront to the abandoned factories, a mix of grit and grace. He saw it all again. The cell's cold bars, Snake's flashing blade, Aisha's bruised arm, Reggie's blood on the yard. Doubt had nearly crushed him, those nights wondering if he was enough, if he could carry his family through the storm. But he'd fought, and they'd fought with him. His mom's prayers, Aisha's fire, Reggie's grit, Carla's steel. Justice wasn't just the verdict. It was this. Joy rode laughing again, Malik's spark igniting, a garage rising from ashes. Kwame Jackson had been a mechanic, a prisoner, a target. Now he was a builder, a brother, a man who'd turned rust into something shining. Detroit hummed its rough lullaby, and for the first time in years, it sounded like home. Lesson learned from Burn the Cage Down. The story of Kwame Jackson in Burn the Cage Down teaches us one powerful lesson. Resilience can turn the odds in your favor, no matter how stacked they are against you. Kwame didn't just sit back when the system tried to bury him. He fought with his wits, his heart, and the people who believed in him. It's a reminder that life can throw you into the darkest cages, whether it's injustice, doubt, or fear. But you've got the tools to break free if you refuse to give up. This isn't just about surviving. It's about rising stronger, proving that even in a world quick to judge, your truth can light the way. Meaningful message conveyed. Burn the Cage Down delivers a message that hits hard. Justice isn't handed to you. It's something you claim. Kwame's journey shows that when the world sees you as a statistic, you can rewrite the story with grit and determination. It's about standing tall for yourself and your community, turning pain into purpose, and building something better from the ashes. This story screams that no cage, literal or not, can hold you if you've got the fire to fight back. It's a call to believe in your own power, even when the shadows try to swallow you whole. Personal perspective on the story. From my view, Burn the Cage Down is a raw, real gut punch of a tale. It's the kind of story that sticks with you. Kwame's not a superhero. He's a regular guy, a mechanic with grease under his nails, who gets dealt a brutal hand. What gets me is how he doesn't just save himself. He lifts up everyone around him, from Aisha to Reggie to that kid Malik. It's personal because we've all felt trapped at some point, judged or boxed in. Kwame's fight feels like ours, and his win? That's the kind of hope I think we all need. A spark that says you can burn down anything holding you back and build something new. Hey, if Burn the Cage Down lit a fire in you, there's plenty more where that came from. Hit that follow button on Story Precious and subscribe to our channel for the latest videos, stories that grip you, shake you, and leave you inspired. We're dropping fresh tales of grit, heart, and triumph every week, so don't miss out. Join the crew, ring that bell, and let's keep the stories burning bright together. See you in the next one.